Large Sarge nodded. He coasted on a single novelty record, That's What I Think, but understood exactly how lucky he was and how to maximize his time in the spotlight. He knew that by this time next year, he'd be back at his old radio station, spinning platters, and that was okay. He appreciated the ride while it lasted. His name was Rockhouse Hicks, Sarge said. Used to play with Bill Monroe, I think. Hell, everybody in these parts used to play with Monroe, Byron said. Byron had the most substantial career of the three, with a half-dozen hits for himself and 3 songs he'd written for others on the charts as well. In his last movie, Riot in PS 105, he'd even been given a few lines of dialogue, and there was talk he might be up for bigger parts in the near future. He finds 'em, trains 'em up, and then off they go. I hear he's a mean SOB. Well, if he trained this fella, he did a great job, Guy said. He shook his head and repeated, I've never heard anything like it. Well, that's 'cause he's a Tufa, Large Sarge said. What's that? Guy asked. Nobody knows for sure. They got black hair like Indians, but you saw him. He don't really look like one. A lot of 'em look like they could be part Negra, too, but they swear they're not. He gestured toward the window. They live up in these mountains somewhere and don't come out very often, but when they do, it seems like every last one of them is a great musician. They all play banjo? No, they play all sorts of things, and they know damn near every song you can think of, but you can't get much out of them otherwise. He took a drink from his own flask and offered it to Guy, who politely shook his head. He continued, Some folks say they were here when the first white folks came over from Europe. Hell, some stories say they were here when the first Indians arrived. What do they say? Byron asked. Sarge laughed. They don't say shit. So they ain't Indians, Guy said. Nope. Nobody knows what they are. But if you're around one, watch yourself. They're sneaky, like gypsies. Somebody's pulling your leg, Byron said. He slapped his injured leg. And believe me, I know about leg pulling. Maybe. But you didn't hear that old boy play tonight, did you? Nah, I was resting my leg in the dressing room, Byron said. It sounded like an excuse for partying or meeting a girl, but it was the literal truth. His leg needed all the rest he could get before a show because he performed like his injury didn't matter at all. Oftentimes it meant flinging his leg about like a dancer might, except that the extra weight of the brace was even harder on its already weak muscles. But the crowd loved it, and he couldn't imagine not doing it. The screams of the girls alone made the pain worthwhile. Right now it throbbed with a dull regular beat, 4/4 time, which was the rhythm he'd used for most of his hit songs. Man, the sound in that place tonight was awful, Guy said. I hate playing in gymnasiums. One time I had to go into this gym, and they didn't have a stage or nothing, Sarge said. They just had bleachers on both sides, and they sold all the seats. And then they made the whites sit on one side and the coloreds on the other. So I had to set up in the middle and try to play to both of them. Everybody was too nervous to be the first one to start dancing. It wasn't until right before the end that a few people came down from each side, but they stayed in little clots, making sure they got nowhere near each other. He shook his head. Man, I tell you what, we need to stop screwing up our kids with our problems. You know that? I had something worse happen, Guy said with a grin. It was my first band in high school, the Furious Ones. We had this guitar player named Pete who thought he was hot shit on toast. He liked to sneak Dexedrine from his cousin who was narcoleptic and toss one down before the show. Usually he didn't do much. He was pretty wild anyway, and this actually kind of calmed him down. But I think he took more than usual on this night, so he was bouncing off the damn ceiling. Anyway, he had this super long cord for his electric guitar, and he liked to dance all around. So on this night, he got his feet all tangled up, but he was too into his music to realize it. He jumped way up in the air, like he always did, and usually he came down with his feet spread apart. But this time he couldn't, and he landed flat on his back. His guitar flew headfirst into his amplifier and made this god-awful shriek that I swear probably messed up my hearing to this day. The drummer jumped over and unplugged his guitar.